everyone! Welcome back to the Friendly English Learning Podcast. I'm Emma, and I'm really happy you're here with us today.
And I'm Noah. Before we jump into today's topic, we need to ask you for a tiny favor. Seriously, it takes just 1 second.
Yes, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our podcast. It helps so much more than people imagine.
Exactly. When you like and subscribe, the platform shows our episodes to more English learners, and that means we can keep creating free lessons for you every week.
So if you enjoy learning English with us, please support the podcast. It really makes a difference.
All right, now let's get into today's conversation, and it's a very useful one. We're talking about how to describe your job in English.
Yes, this is something that comes up in almost every conversation when you meet new people. It's one of the most common questions. So, what do you do?
Exactly. And today, we're going to help you answer that question confidently, naturally, and clearly.
So, Noah, let's imagine we're meeting for the first time. We're at a cafe, we're waiting in line, and we start talking.
Okay, I look at you and say, "Hi, nice to meet you. So, what do you do?"
Perfect. And notice, listeners, he didn't ask, "What is your job?" That's correct, but not very natural. The natural question is, "What do you do?"
Right. So, Emma, what do you say?
I would say, "I'm a podcast host, and I'm also an English educator."
Nice and simple, and the structure's easy. I'm a job title.
Exactly. Listeners, try saying it out loud. I'm a teacher. I'm a designer. I'm an engineer. Whatever your job is.
And if your job doesn't use a, like I'm a nurse, you can just say I'm a, or for plural type professions, I'm in. For example, I'm in marketing, I'm in customer service, I'm in tech.
Great point. There are many natural ways to talk about work, and we're going to explore them all today.
But first, Emma, what about me? How would you ask me about my job?
I'd simply say, "So Noah, what do you do?"
And I'd answer, I'm a podcast host too, and I also work as a language coach.
Perfect example.
So now that we know how to say what we do, let's talk about where we work. This is something learners often find confusing.
Yes, because in English we use little words, prepositions, that change the meaning a bit. And the most common ones are in, at, and for.
Exactly. So let's break them down in a simple way.
If you want to say the kind of place where you work, like the environment, you use in.
For example, I work in a school. I work in a clinic. I work in an office.
Yes, it describes the type of space, not the company name.
Now, at is similar, but we usually use it for a specific workplace, not the general environment.
Like, I work at the airport. I work at the city library. I work at a local store.
And finally, for. This is used when you want to say the organization or company you work for.
For example, I work for a tech company. I work for a bank. I work for a small family business.
Or if you want to be fancy, you can say, I work for Friendly English Learning.
That would be an amazing place to work. Listeners, try this with your job. If you say, I'm a nurse, you can add, I work in hospital. I work at Green Valley Medical Center. I work for a private health company.
And suddenly, your answer becomes richer, more natural, more complete.
Exactly. Small details make your English sound much more confident.
So, Emma, now that we know how to say our job and where we work, let's talk about something really important. How to describe what your job is like.
Yes, because saying I'm a teacher is fine, but saying I'm a teacher and my job is really rewarding gives a much better picture.
Exactly. And adjectives help us add life and emotion to our English.
Let's start with some adjectives people use when their job is a bit challenging. Tiring, it takes a lot of energy. Stressful, too many things happening, pressure. Demanding, it requires a lot of effort and attention.
For example, when I worked at a cafe years ago, my job was definitely tiring. I was on my feet all day, carrying trays, running around.
I can imagine, and customer service can be pretty stressful too.
Oh, absolutely. When 20 people want coffee at the same time, yes, stressful.
And now let's look at the fun side. Some jobs are very enjoyable. Here are some great adjectives. Interesting, it captures your attention. Fun, you enjoy doing it. Creative, you use imagination or artistic skills. Rewarding, you feel proud or happy about what you do.
For example, teaching is very rewarding for me. When a student says, "I understand now," that moment is priceless.
I agree, and podcasting is really fun and creative. We get to talk, create lessons, connect with listeners.
Yes, it's the perfect mix. It never gets boring.
Listeners, try it now. Think about your job or a job you had and choose one adjective to describe it.
It can be, "My job is interesting," "My job is stressful," "My job is creative," whatever fits.
And if you don't have a job at the moment, you can imagine one from the past or describe something you would like to do.
All right, Emma. We've talked about job titles, workplaces, and adjectives. But there's another important part of the conversation, your work schedule.
Yes, people often ask things like, do you work full-time? Or do you work from home? So let's explain these in a simple way.
Full-time means you work a normal number of hours, usually around 40 hours a week.
Right. You work Monday to Friday with a regular schedule, something like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. or the classic 9 to 5.
Exactly. Most traditional jobs are full-time.
Part-time means you work fewer hours, maybe only a few days a week or just mornings.
Students often do this, or people who have two jobs. For example, I once taught English part-time while doing university.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes, I only taught in the evenings 3 days a week. It was a good balance.
Now this one has become super common, working remotely.
Yes, when you work from home instead of going to an office.
It's comfortable, but you also need discipline. Otherwise, you might end up working in your pajamas all day.
Nothing wrong with pajamas, but yes, you still need to actually do your job.
Listeners, try answering this question. Do you work full-time, part-time, or remotely?
Say it out loud. Even if it feels strange, practicing out loud helps you remember.
And you can combine everything we learned so far. I'm a graphic designer, I work in a studio, I work full-time. Nice and simple.
Emma, I think talking about past jobs is one of the best ways to practice English. People love sharing stories about old work experiences.
Absolutely. And it helps learners use the past tense naturally. So Noah, tell us about one job you had before becoming a teacher.
Okay. Before teaching, I worked at a small bookstore. It was a quiet place, full of old books and that paper smell, you know?
Ah, yes, the classic bookstore smell. I love that.
Me too. The job wasn't difficult, but it was very calm. Some days were relaxing, but some days were too quiet. I remember standing behind the counter thinking, wow, I've seen 12 minutes pass and it felt like 2 hours.
That is the universal sign of a slow day at work. Listeners, here are some good phrases to talk about your past jobs. I used to work as. Before my current job, I worked in. My old job was. One thing I liked about that job was. One thing I disliked was.
These phrases help you structure your story, even if it's short. And what about you, Emma? Tell us one job you had long ago.
Well, before teaching and podcasting, I spent one summer working at a small bakery.
A bakery? That sounds delicious.
It was delicious. I got free pastries every morning. But the work started very early. I mean, very early. I had to arrive at 5 a.m., so the first hour was always a battle with sleep.
So the job was sweet, but also tiring?
Exactly. Delicious pastries plus early mornings equals mixed feelings.
Listeners, think about a job you had in the past, even a small one. Try describing it using one positive and one negative detail.
For example, my old job was interesting, but it was also stressful. My old job was easy, but sometimes boring.
Simple structures, very useful.
So far, we talked about job titles, workplaces, schedules, and even old jobs. But there's one thing many learners struggle with: describing what you actually do at your job.
Yes, people usually know how to say their job title, but when someone asks, "So what do you do at work?" they freeze.
Exactly, so let's make it easy.
Listeners, these expressions are super useful. I'm responsible for, I usually handle, my job involves, I spend a lot of time, one of my main tasks is.
All of these help you sound more fluent and natural.
Emma, how would you describe your responsibilities as a teacher?
Let's see. I'm responsible for planning lessons, teaching classes, and helping students improve. My job involves preparing materials and giving feedback. And I could also say, I spend a lot of time correcting pronunciation.
Nice, clear and simple. That's a great example for learners.
Your turn, Noah. How do you describe your responsibilities?
I'm responsible for designing courses and recording learning content. One of my main tasks is creating examples that are easy to understand. And I'd add, I usually handle the technical setup for our recordings.
That last one is true. He's the tech brain here.
Laugh, somebody has to press the buttons.
Now, your turn, dear listeners. Think about your job or even your studies. Try making a simple sentence using one of the structures. I'm responsible for. My job involves. I usually handle.
Don't worry about sounding perfect. Focus on clear, simple English.
You know, Noah, something really common at work is dealing with unexpected tasks. Like you're focused on one project and suddenly someone says, "Hey, can you help me with this real quick?"
Oh yes, the famous real quick, which usually means not quick at all.
Exactly, but it's part of almost every job, and learning how to respond politely in English is super helpful.
Right. For example, if you're busy, you can say, I'm working on something right now, but I can help you in a few minutes.
Or if you really can't do it, a good one is, I'd love to help, but I won't be able to finish my task on time if I stop now.
That's a great sentence because it's honest, respectful, and clear. Workplaces really appreciate clarity.
Definitely, and sometimes the opposite happens. You finish your task early and someone asks, "Can you take over this part?"
Yes, and a friendly reply could be, sure, I can take a look. What exactly do you need?
Simple, professional, and helpful. These small interactions build a good reputation at work, and good relationships too.
Totally. Communication is everything in a work environment. And speaking of communication, if you're enjoying this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the podcast grow and reach more people learning English.
Yes, it really supports the project. Thank you so much if you already did it.
Emma, there's another really common situation at work that many learners struggle with, explaining when something goes wrong.
Oh yes, that happens in every job. Problems are part of the process, and what really matters is how you communicate about them.
Exactly. And in English-speaking workplaces, being clear and honest is super important. For example, if you made a mistake, you can say, there was a misunderstanding on my side, but I've already fixed it.
Or, I missed a detail, but I'm working on it now. Simple, professional, and straight to the point.
And the key is always pairing the problem with a solution, like, the file is delayed, but I'll send it before the end of the day.
That shows responsibility. People don't expect perfection at work. They expect initiative.
Another very common workplace situation is asking for clarification when a task isn't clear. Some people feel embarrassed, but honestly, it's completely normal.
Totally. And you can say things like, "Could you clarify what you mean by that?" Or, "Can you give me an example so I understand it better?"
These phrases prevent confusion, avoid extra work, and make you look more professional.
And before we jump into the next part, just a quick reminder. If you're enjoying this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the podcast grow and lets us keep creating free content for you.
Seriously, your support makes a huge difference. Thanks so much. Oh yes, some people work super fast, others take more time. Some love planning, others improvise everything. And sometimes you have to adapt to all of them.
Exactly. And having a few polite phrases ready makes teamwork so much easier. For example, if someone works at a different pace, you can say, "Let's coordinate our timelines so we stay on the same page."
That's a great one. And if you want to ask for an update without sounding pushy, you can say, do you have any updates on your part of the project?
Or something softer like, just checking in, how is everything going on your side?
Perfect. It keeps the conversation friendly but still professional.
And sometimes you need to give your own update. A simple sentence like, I'm making progress and I'll share everything as soon as it's ready works in almost any situation.
Honestly, good communication can solve half of the problems at work. Most conflicts happen because people assume instead of asking.
I couldn't agree more. And before we move to the next part, just a quick reminder. If you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the podcast reach more learners and really supports the project.
Emma, here's another classic workplace situation. Preparing for a meeting and realizing you're not totally sure what the meeting is actually about.
Oh, yes, that happens more often than people admit. But luckily, there are polite ways to ask for clarification.
For example, you can say, could you confirm the main topics we'll cover in the meeting?
Or something a bit more casual, just to be prepared, what's the focus of today's meeting?
And if you want to make sure you're doing your part correctly, you can add, is there anything specific you'd like me to bring or present?
Perfect. And after the meeting, it's also helpful to confirm what you understood. Like, so just to recap, I'll handle the first section and send the draft by tomorrow, right?
That one is great because it avoids misunderstandings and saves everyone time.
And if you ever leave a meeting thinking, wait, what did they decide? Don't worry. You can simply message a coworker. Can you confirm the next steps for our team?
Super useful. Workplace English isn't about complicated vocabulary, it's about clear communication.
Noah, something else that happens a lot at work is giving small updates throughout the day. Not big presentations, just quick check-ins.
Yes, those tiny updates can make a huge difference in teamwork, and many learners aren't sure what to say in English.
For example, you can keep it simple with, quick update. I've finished the first part and I'm starting the next step.
Or if you're waiting for something, you can say, I'm ready to continue as soon as I receive the files.
That one is super useful. And if something is taking longer than expected, you can say, this part is more detailed than I expected, but I'm working on it.
I like that because it's honest but still professional.
And sometimes you want to reassure your team that everything is under control. A nice phrase is, everything is on track on my side.
That sounds confident and organized, which is great in any workplace.
And just as important, letting people know when you'll be unavailable. You can say, I'll be away from my desk for about 20 minutes, but I'll check messages when I'm back.
Oh yes, that's such a workplace classic. People really appreciate when you communicate clearly like that.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode. We covered so many real workplace situations, from giving updates to asking for clarification to dealing with different work styles.
Yeah, and we really hope these phrases help you feel more confident in your job, whether you work in an office, online, or anywhere else.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Seriously, every minute you invest in your English makes a difference, and we're happy to be part of your journey.
And before we wrap up, just one last reminder, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps the podcast grow and lets us keep creating more episodes for you.
We appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for listening, for practicing, and for being part of this community.
And get ready, in the next episode, we're going to talk about something many learners struggle with.
Small talk. How to start conversations, keep them going, and sound natural in everyday situations.
It's going to be super fun and really useful.
So don't miss it. Thank you again, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone.